How's it going, guys and girls? Hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another video, guys, and this one I wanted to give my general sort of first impressions kind of review on the For Honor alpha beta that came out over the weekend. So it was a closed beta that was available pretty much from the 15th until the sort of the 18th of September for people to actually have a go at For Honor. I was lucky enough to get sent an invite, and Dante and I actually played some of it last night, and we had a blast playing it. So I want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the game, what I generally thought of the beta, and then basically if I think it's worth pre-ordering, if I think it's actually a decent game and perhaps worth full price. So let me start by saying that this game has always been on the radar for me. When it came out at E3 2015, when I first saw the gameplay for this game, I was absolutely blown away by the whole idea of the art of war and the way in which combat moved and worked within the game. And I thought it was really refreshing and really interesting. For those of you that know me or might know a little bit about me, I'm absolutely a massive history geek, and I also am a huge fan of fencing in all different forms. When I was at university, I was actually part of the university fencing team, and was sort of trained and learned different forms of combat, different forms of fencing, from foil, epee, saber, and the lot. So I was very excited to sort of bring those sort of the elements of fencing that I love into a video game. It sounded really interesting. Now, when I saw it at E3, again, the gameplay looked great. The presentation of this game was fantastic, but I was a little bit concerned that the combat would become a little bit too repetitive, and that you get bored with it after a while. The content wouldn't be there. I have to say, after playing the beta, I am definitely going to be getting this game when it comes out on the 14th of February. I love that this game is coming out on Valentine's Day. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, since playing the alpha beta, I had such a blast playing it, and I really enjoyed it. So let me talk a little bit about the beta itself. So what do we get access to? Well, there were 3 game modes that you could play. You could play Brawl, which was 2v2. You could either do 2 human players versus 2 AI bots, or 2 human players. And it's the perfect opportunity really there for you to make private matches and to play with your friends, and to co-op and play together. You then had the 1v1 duel, which was probably one of my favorite game modes. And to top that off, we had 4v4 Dominion, which is basically like capture the flag, capture the base, involving human players. Now, it can either be 4 human players playing cooperatively against AI, or 4v4 player versus player PvP. Now, in Dominion, that game mode, obviously they showcased a lot of that at the different conferences, and when they were playing that game mode in the conferences, they kind of showed a little bit of a fake example of it, which is where sort of you're in the middle of taking a base and you have like 1v1, and the other enemy AI will wait for you to finish that combat. Now, that doesn't happen when you're playing 4v4. What I will say about Dominion is I like the idea of control the base. I think it's fun, but that game mode for me was just absolutely manic. It was too manic, and it wasn't really a game mode. It felt more like a hack and slash game, rather than the more sort of finesse that they were saying it was going to be, which was to do with the art of war. Now, for those of you that don't know what the art of war is, that's basically where you lock on an enemy soldier or another human player, and you have the right thumbstick, which are used to change your stance. Now, when the enemy is attacking you, you have to match their stance. So if their arrow or their stance is up, you need to match up as well in order to block or parry that attack. And if you're wanting to attack, then you have to choose a different stance, whether from the left or the right, or above, depending on what their stance is. Now, the art of war is the side of the game that I love the most. But with Dominion, it doesn't really work that way. It ends up being a bit of a free, manic kind of free-for-all, where everybody's trying to get kills, and there's a lot of kill stealing going on. There's a lot of frustration. If you get sort of outnumbered by, like, 1 versus 3, it's a bloodbath. You die very, very easily, especially if you're playing against characters that have more strength and they've unlocked more abilities. So I didn't really get into Dominion that much, but in terms of the beta, the 2 game modes that I absolutely loved were Duel and Brawl. Now, Brawl was fun, a lot of fun, playing sort of tag team co-op with a friend. Now, you basically start off just with like a one-on-one duel against an opponent. If you then take down that opponent, you can run and help your teammate, and that makes it quite tricky. Now, what I would have liked is actually to have all 4 of you in an arena, so to speak, and you could actually sort of stand back to back with your friend and fight the other two combatants in the brawl, and you can switch between them. I think that would have been a lot more exciting, a lot more fun than this kind of like individual duel. If you take out your opponent, then obviously you can go and attack the other enemy in the level. I think it would have been much better if it was like an arena kind of situation, and who knows, maybe that will be an option. I only got to play on 1 map generally, so maybe other maps will have that kind of setup. Who knows? I guess it remains to be seen. But my favorite game mode was absolutely Duel. I loved it. This game mode was so good, guys. It was so much fun. It was really enjoyable because when you're playing, you don't just go in hack and slashing. It really does require a lot of kind of like feinting, and there's a lot of tension in there. Like, what's your opponent going to do? Are they going to feint? Are they attacking from above or down? And it's kind of like you kind of like wait for the opposite, the opponent to make the first move, and it's really, really enjoyable. It's basically Duel is the best out of 5 rounds. Whoever wins the most matches out of 5 rounds ultimately wins the game, and it's a lot of fun. I played a lot of different battles or duels against opponents, and some of them were incredibly close, and it was very, very enjoyable. So let me talk about the characters that you got to play with. Well, in the alpha beta, you could play as all of the 3 main factions. You could play as a knight, a samurai, or a Viking, and each of those factions, there are actually 2 characters that you could play. You could play as the base character, but you could also unlock a higher level character or a different kind of character to try them out and see how they differ. Now, we'll say that each of the factions and each of the characters do handle very, very differently. They feel very different, and they also have different attributes and different benefits and and different strengths and weaknesses. For example, the knight character is a little bit more well balanced. It favors both, attack and defense. The Viking obviously is all about the strength, so it very much does benefit sort of attack. And then obviously the samurai is very, very quick and agile character as well, so very, very weak in defense, whereas obviously the Viking is built much stronger, so with their defense is a lot stronger as well. But yeah, there are different combinations that you can do. The parries as well are also quite sort of advanced. They can go quite advanced. You do have your typical sort of block, but if you time it right and you combine it with certain buttons, you can actually turn it into a counter attack and into a riposte. Some of them look incredibly cool and really awesome, and some of the finishing moves and executions are just badass. They're just so cool to see, and they're really, really sweet. And you can, of course, there are things like taunts in here as well, which makes it really enjoyable, especially when you're doing duel and you're kind of taunting the other person opposite you, and it's really, really, really enjoyable. It adds a lot of character to the game. Another thing that adds a lot of character to the beta as well is there is actually some form of customization here. Now, you can customize your character completely, from their armor, their weapons, their color scheme, their emblems, everything can be completely customized, and you can also level up and customize your weapons as well by applying different, you get basically different loot as you play through the matches, as you win matches, and you can actually take apart weapons and adding a new blade or a new hilt, and that can give you different benefits and different bonuses. You can also increase the level of these pieces as well by dismantling other gear, which will level them up and improve their damage capacity or their defense and that kind of thing. So the customization in the game looks very good. It looks really good. I have to say I was incredibly impressed with this alpha, because it is an alpha, you know, it's very, very early stage. So, you know, the game doesn't come out until February the 14th, and the game as it is right now, it's a very good game. Now, there were some issues in terms of the online servers. There were some sort of like glitches that were taking place, and sometimes the matches would freeze, and yes, those are problems in terms of servers, and yes, those do need dealing with. But in terms of the concrete gameplay, I didn't notice anything too majorly you know, bad or negative in terms of glitches or clipping or anything like that. The gameplay itself was very, very smooth. The combat and the art of war was also very, very good as well. So I really, really enjoyed the alpha beta. I would have to definitely say I recommend it. I do recommend it. I was on the fence about this game, I'll be honest, before I played the beta, but after playing it, I am absolutely getting this game on day one. Dante is going to get this game as well, and we will definitely be bringing you guys some gameplay video and footage. I can't wait to actually play the main campaign. I'm really interested to see all the 3 different factions and how they incorporate those into a story. I'm very interested to see all the different game modes and all the characters that you can unlock as well. And of course, I'm definitely going to be bringing you guys some really fun duel matches and online gameplay as well. I can't wait to play that. So yeah, the alpha beta, really, really enjoyable. I'm hoping they're going to do a full open beta for people to try out before the game comes out on the 14th of February. I think that would be a really good idea for them to do that, just to test the servers, and it also gives people a chance to play this game and get hands-on with this game. And this game at the moment, it really is under the radar, if you ask me. It's not a game that's massively on the radar, like for example Call of Duty Infinite Warfare or Battlefield 1 or Final Fantasy 15 or The Last Guardian or anything like that. These games are massive on the radar. Now this one is kind of going a little bit low on the radar, and I think it deserves a lot more attention perhaps than it's getting, and I very much support this game, and I'm really looking forward to playing more. And if there is an open beta, guys, I will definitely be doing a live stream of it. Absolutely. Alright, guys and girls, well anyway, if you have played the game, let me know what you thought about it. Did you enjoy it? Will you be buying the game when it comes out? If you haven't, what do you think of the gameplay that you've seen in the background here? And will you be getting it? Does it look like a game that's going to be sort of right up your alley? Let me know in the comment section below. Hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did find it interesting or enjoyable, please hit the like button as always to show your support. Alright, guys and girls, well, take care, and as always, happy gaming. Yeah. Within the game, and I thought it was really refreshing and really interesting. For those of you that know me or might know a little bit about me, I'm absolutely a massive history geek, and I also am a huge fan of fencing in all different forms. When I was at university last playing it, so I want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the game, what I generally thought of the beta, and then basically if I think it's worth pre-ordering, if I think it's actually a decent game and perhaps worth full price. So let me start by saying that this game has always been on the radar for me. When it came out at E3 2015, when I first saw the gameplay for this game, I was absolutely blown away by the whole idea of the art of war and the way in which combat moved and worked. How's it going, guys and girls? Hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another video, guys, and this one I wanted to give my general sort of first impressions kind of review on the For Honor Alpha Beta that came out over the weekend. So it was a closed beta that was available pretty much from the 15th until the sort of the 18th of September for people to actually have a go at For Honor. I was lucky enough to get sent an invite, and Dante and I actually played some of it last night, and we had a